Let's just everybody hold yourself in your arms. Yeah. So life is good all the time. So our topic today is clear thought, clear knowing, or clear thinking and clear knowing. When I woke up this morning, and I'm always looking for metaphors that are going to match with my talk. And I was in this process of clear thinking. And as I got out of the shower and the mirror was totally fogged up, I thought, oh, that's what it is. It's like you got to get the clarity before you in order to see where you're going and what you're doing. And I got on the freeway and there was the fog. And it's kind of like, thank you, God, for all of these metaphors that are showing up. But I really need this clear thinking. I need to be able to see where I'm going in order to make sure that I arrive there safely and securely, so that I can, share that with everybody, that it is the way in which we are thinking, that as we, the thoughts that we have created in our mind, and every thought is creative. And the reading that Reverend Ann was giving this morning, it began that way. It's like every thought is creative. So if you take a few moments and you kind of reflect upon what you've been thinking, then you have a better understanding of why your life got to the place in which it did. Because of all the thoughts that we have going on in our mind, all of that we are thinking, all of that we are processing, begins to find a way to show up in form. It finds a way to demonstrate and express itself in our life, because every thought is creative. The blessing that we probably have with that is that it's not always in the immediate moment in which you have that thought that it begins to create in your life. How wonderful that might be, and many times when we're in that place that our thoughts are about how much love we can have, how much dancing we want to do, how much we want to hold each other, how much we want to engage in the good of life. But the downside would be that then all of those negative thoughts that we have, if that started to show up in the immediacy too, then there would be even more chaos than what's going on in the world now. And we know that there's a lot of chaos that's going on in the world, not all of it because of the immediate thought, but because of some of the past thoughts that we've had with ourselves and with others. There's an opportunity that we have in this thing called time and space to often correct our journey, to correct our thinking, to correct, some of the things that we have going on in our mind that maybe are not the most affirmative, that are not the most powerful and the most positive. So if we're finding a place in which in our life there is a challenge, that there's something that's not in the clear pathway that we are seeking, then we have an opportunity to change that, to make a correction. And the way in which we do that is we get back to this place in which we clear our thinking. And in our philosophy and in our teaching, and you've heard the name Ernest Holmes a couple of times already this morning, he is the founder of our philosophy and our Centers for Spiritual Living, this teaching that we call the Science of Mind. Ernest Holmes, as he was drawing from so many other faiths and traditions and teachings that he could study and spend a little bit of time about, he was coming down to this idea that there is in all of that a teaching that says that love is all there is. That love truly is the way and the direction. And that by whatever name we call it, if we choose to call it God or some other name, that spirit, that divine source, that infinite intelligence, that one mind, that one life, it is the power and the energy behind each and every one of us. It is the power and the energy that pushes forth our ideas. and it has a universal yes to it. So whatever our idea is, whatever our thought is, whatever words that we are putting out, the universe is right behind it, saying yes, and let's go forward with that. So if it's something that's in a negative sense, the universe is not picking and choosing. It's not making favorites out of it. It's just supporting you in whatever thought that you have. So we are encouraging people, as we continue to do in this teaching, is to clear that thinking up. And one of the ways in which we do that, we do it through the meditation, we do it through affirmation, we do it through coming together in classes and other occasions by which we can reflect upon what's going on. We can get a hold of our foundation, of the truth of who we are. We can remember that we are all divine expressions of that spiritual source, and so we have the power within us to clear our thinking and to change our thoughts. I often encourage people to find a time and a place where you can just sit down and be quiet and be still for even a moment or a few moments. And as you begin to build that practice, it begins to build into minutes, and sometimes it can even be hours. I have the opportunity of an hour drive here on Sunday, and even though I'm focused on my driving and the direction in which I'm going, I'm also using that time to get clear with myself, to be present in that moment, to realize that I'm out there in this big mechanical machine that's traveling, well, within the speed limit mostly. And generally, you know, it's in the sunshine, at least when I'm on that side of the mountain, but as I come through that pass, oftentimes there's the overcast that's happening. But I'm realizing that right there in my own little world, that it's just me and my mind and my thoughts. And they can wander into many ways if I'm not careful, if I'm not paying attention to what it is that I'm doing. And that happens to us even throughout whatever experience that we're doing in the day, is that we're moving along, participating in some activity, whether it's work or doing the laundry or cleaning the house or driving someplace. We are engaged in our life, and we find ourselves often on this kind of like automatic. We're just going along doing things, and then all of a sudden there will be a little bump in the road, or there will be a little jar that happens, or there will be a sound that it's made, and we wake up. And I'm sure that you've all had that experience, that you're going along doing whatever it is that you're doing, and something jars you, and you kind of realize, oh, I was just like in this automatic mode. I wasn't paying attention. What's going on in my thoughts? What's going on in my mind? Am I having a moment of happiness and joy and love and peace and harmony? Or was I cussing out and cursing, you know, the condition that I'm in, or, you know, the people that are attacking me, or the sense of that I'm in lack and limitation? You know, because if that's where the track of your mind is going, then that's what the creative source is bringing forth and manifesting and demonstrating in your life experience. There is no question that there are a lot of things going on in this world that we really don't have any control over. There are like 7 billion other people that are walking this planet, that are having their own thoughts about what it is that they want, the way that they think things should happen. So there's bound to be, you know, some friction happening in this world, because there's a lot of us, and we're all here as creative individuals, and we're all trying to create that greater experience in life. So sometimes we need to just like pull ourselves back from the ongoingness of the world and just find a little bit of peace and love and surrender in our own mind, in our own heart, in our own body, in our own soul, right where we are in this moment. Because it's the very moment that you are living right here and right now that's the most important. The thoughts that you are thinking in this moment, the attitude that you are holding in your body and your senses right here and right now is what's creating that which is coming next, down the road, today, tomorrow, next week. So if we want to be in that place of joy and happiness and prosperity and abundance and balance and power and wisdom and truth, then we need to be in that place right here and right now. We need to be creating the truth that we want to live in. We need to be creating the happiness that we want to experience. We need to be thinking about and creating the abundance and the prosperity that we want to share in as we move forward in this thing called life. And the way in which we do it is by clearing our thinking and getting into that place of knowing who it is that we are. Who are we? We are individualized expressions of the divine. For God is all that there is. Everything is coming out of that one life, that one mind. But it's focusing itself in the personality of you. And it's allowing for that focus. It's allowing for that you to have the freedom to bring forth whatever it is that you want in life, and it's going to support you in that. So the way in which you want to bring forth your life, the experience that you want coming forth, is coming out of the thoughts that you're having now. The way that this ties into our theme of this year of 2020 spiritual vision is this creative thought that says that if we begin to plan, if we begin to put the word out, if we begin to share and show up in that experience and that thought and that belief of this is the way that we want life to be, then that's the way it's going to create itself. There's a little over 400 centers for spiritual living around the world. And many of them are following this path in this spiritual vision that says, let's show up at least one day, 1 hour a week, and let's focus in on this idea that there's a greater good that's available to each and every one of us. So if there are 400 centers, and I would say on an average, most of them are around this size, they're like maybe 50 to 100, so you can begin to do the numbers of how many people are showing up on a Sunday with a positive thought, with an affirmation, with an idea that they want to bring about a greater good for themselves, for their beloved community, and for the world at large. So let's begin to generate and energize that love and that peace and that joy and that harmony. Let's carry it outside of here so that we know that when we're in here, and I get this message all the time. People walk in and they say, I feel the love here. Okay, well that love is not just here. You feel the love because you have it. You cannot walk into this center and find love if you don't already have it within you. So yes, I know that energy of love builds here and it begins to multiply, but only because you brought it in with you. If you bring in that sense of love, there will be more love here. If you bring in that sense of abundant prosperity, there will be more abundant prosperity. If you bring in that sense of joy and happiness, there will be more joy and happiness. And it doesn't just stay here, it goes back with you. The love that you have, wherever you bring it, increases and multiplies, and it always is with you, and it goes with you wherever you go from here. So it's not just because you showed up here and you felt it that you have it. It's because you already have it within you. And that's true for all of those characteristics that I throw out there about what is the character of the divine. This abundance and balance and beauty and power and wisdom and truth and joy and love and happiness. All of that is within you. It's already there. Sometimes it needs to be awakened. Sometimes we need to, have that block that bump in the road that jars us into our awareness of who we are, remembering that we are creative, powerful individuals, and that if we continue to come together individually and collectively and support that, we will create a world that works for all. We will create a world within ourselves and around us that begins to express and demonstrate all of that joy and that love and that happiness. And that's the world that I want us to live in this next year. I'm knowing that as we continue to do this, as we continue to work the process and show up in each and every week and each and every day with this powerful thought that I am a creative individual. I am an individual of joy and love and happiness. So when we wake up in the morning and we get out of the shower and we see that the mirror is all fogged up, we can begin to clean that off. And we can begin to see the reflection of the power of who we are and the grace and the love and the joy. So I'm going to leave you with this affirmation today, and I'm going to post it, so if you want to write it down later, you can come up and see this. Life is a mirror, and it will reflect back to the thinker what he or she thinks into it. Life is a mirror and will reflect back to you what you are thinking into it. When you see yourself in the mirror, do you see love? When you see your reflection in the mirror, do you see joy? Do you see peace? Do you see harmony? If that's what you're putting into it, that's what you're going to receive back to it. So once again, life is a mirror and will reflect back to the thinker what he thinks into it. That's your affirmation for the week. For those of you who have journals, you can write this down and carry that with you. And remember that you are a divine expression. You are an expression of love, joy, peace, and harmony. And you are filled with all of that. You bring it into our center. For that we are truly grateful. It increases and it multiplies and it goes back out with you into the world. Experience that and enjoy that. Thank you. Namaste.